Good evening and welcome to Alfanar's first virtual gathering. I hope you and your loved ones are safe and well. The last few months have taught us all an important lesson in humility, that we should not take anything for granted, and that we should value and support those in our societies who are willing to sacrifice their safety in order to ensure the wellness of others. They were often overlooked and underappreciated. Today, they are finally being recognized as true heroes. At Alfanar, we have always viewed our social entrepreneurs as real heroes. That has never been more true than it is today. This awful pandemic threatens to create an additional 2 million jobless to a region that already has one of the highest unemployment ratios globally, and adds over 8 million people to our already extremely high level of poverty and food insecurity. Our social entrepreneurs work tirelessly to educate, employ, and empower, to bring a beacon of hope to people for whom safety and wellness seem elusive goals, especially now. So as they strive to lessen the impact of the crisis on the most severely affected and vulnerable, our women, children, and youth, our investees need our support more than ever. I want to thank everyone who has generously contributed to Alfanar's Survive and Thrive campaign over the last few weeks. While we cannot gather in person today, we hope that the conversation will reinforce why it is so worthwhile to support our social entrepreneurs and encourage others to engage with Alfanar. It is only through your continued support, energy, networks, and ideas that we can ensure a brighter future for so many who are suffering. Thank you for joining the Alfanar family and helping to make it larger and stronger. God bless you all. Thank you.
Alfanar invests in communities. The bold social entrepreneurs we back are local community leaders and frontline heroes. In the face of COVID-19 and an economic crisis of historic proportions, they need our help more than ever to ensure that the communities they serve are able to withstand this crisis. With Alfanar's flexible funding, training, and mentorship, our social entrepreneurs are responding quickly to growing need. They are turning crisis into opportunity for thousands of vulnerable children, youth, and women across the Arab world. Your support is making a significant difference during this difficult time. In Lebanon, Alfanar has supported the Lebanese Food Bank to feed vulnerable Lebanese and refugee families. Alfanar is also helping the Lebanese Food Bank to grow sustainably and effectively. In Egypt, Alfanar investee Educate Me shifted its community school in the Talbiya slum area to digital instruction during lockdown. Egypt's Ministry of Education has recognized Educate Me for its successful pivot. They are writing a manual to support community schools across Egypt with digitization. In Lebanon, Alfanar investee Tabshura has now reached over 15,000 students since lockdown through its digital learning platform. Alfanar goes beyond charity, providing long-term funding and management support to social entrepreneurs. We help create sustainable social ventures that educate and employ the vulnerable.
Alfanar is a commitment to the double bottom line, investing in long-term impact and financial sustainability.
To me, Alfanar represents the ideal development partner. Beyond being so incredibly supportive and enthusiastic about what we do, they're committed, they're understanding, they're flexible and adaptable.
Alfanar's ability to create sustainable change is made possible by our community of philanthropists and supporters.
When my late husband, Tariq Ben Halim, founded Alfanar, he believed the key to building sustainable institutions in the Middle East lay in supporting individuals, particularly women.
We have given our partners the tools they need to achieve long-lasting and sustainable change.
Today, Alfanar is an engine for growth and opportunity across the region. We're delivering economic empowerment and educational opportunity to the most vulnerable, and we're doing it sustainably in partnership with our social enterprises to deliver real impact.
What is different in Alfanar is that we can make this sustainable. How can you make sure that those women and children will be able to sustain their life for the future?
The work that they do with each of the investees is really inspiring.
I support Alfanar because I have witnessed their success stories in the field.
We chose Alfanar because of its ability to build bridges and support organizations like ours that are far away from the Middle East but still want to make an impact back home.
I appreciate Alfanar's focus on social, educational entrepreneurs with scalable solutions.
Please join us and become a part of Alfanar family and make a difference.
So join Alfanar.
Please help us to give them that support. Join Alfanar.
Join Alfanar family.
Like 961 Collective, join the Alfanar family.
Join the Alfanar family.
Join us. Join Alfanar family.
Join us. Come on and join the Alfanar family.
Mute. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. My name is Clarissa Ward. I'm CNN's Chief International Correspondent, but today it is my pleasure to be moderating Alfanar's first virtual gathering. As I'm sure most of you know, we were supposed to be having a rather lavish and wonderful 15th anniversary gala dinner. Instead, we meet in this virtual space, but we are living through extraordinary times, and Alfanar is finding extraordinary ways to step up to those times. So the theme really of today's virtual gathering is looking at how vulnerable communities in the Middle East are responding to COVID-19. And we'll be talking to three very inspiring social entrepreneurs about how they are not only surviving, but thriving. And there's a reason that Alfanar chose that to be the sort of slogan for their most recent campaign in April, because it's at times like this, and with challenges like this, unprecedented they may be, that people find incredible ways to improvise and grow and learn from these experiences. So I will be briefly introducing our three social entrepreneurs and engaging in a conversation with them. And then I really want to turn it over to you who have tuned in to listen and watch this, and allow you to ask questions of them as well. Obviously, this is a very serious issue, as you heard from that video. According to a recent UN report, more than 8 million people in the Middle East are likely to slip into poverty as a result of COVID-19. So this is a timely and important conversation, and the work that all our three social entrepreneurs are doing is incredibly timely and important as well. So without further ado, let me start to introduce you to some of them. We have three, as I mentioned. The first is Yasmin Al-Hagri from the Wataniya Society, and she is joining us from Egypt. Wataniya Society has been working to improve the standards of care and education for orphans and orphanages in Egypt. Obviously, incredibly powerful work. We are also joined by Marianne Betar Karam in Lebanon, and she heads up BOT, which stands for Bridge, Outsource, Transform, which is really a unique platform that essentially allows young people, potentially from vulnerable communities, to source remote freelance work. And then last but not least, we're also talking to Mohammed Hassan from Inash, which for many decades now has been providing the world with incredibly beautiful embroidered textiles, and in the process has also been economically empowering Palestinian refugees. So all of them coming with a unique perspective, all of them working closely with Alfanar to try to develop this sustainable model, which I think we can all agree has become increasingly crucial as the world continues to get more and more challenging. So I wanted to start out with Yasmin, if I may. And obviously, Yasmin, we want to hear about the impact of COVID-19 on the work you're doing in Egypt, but I also wanted to get a sense from you of what inspired you to get into this work in the first place with Al Wataniya.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. What inspired me is my childhood. I believe that I had a blessed childhood because of my caring parents, and I always wanted that all children will receive a special or a unique childhood, because I believe that it affects the personality and your growth and and reaching your potential. So this is what inspired me. I joined Wataniya in 2008, and I shifted my career from advertising and marketing to the social development, because this was my passion since I was a student at the university.
And so how have you been impacted at Al Wataniya by the sort of lockdown in Egypt, by the economic fallout from this crisis? Give us a sense of the specific challenges that you're facing.
Okay, as you know, after the lockdown, all schools stopped and things were turned to online, or mothers had to actually work together with the children to support their education. In normal setting, as I said, children return to their parents, their mothers, their grandparents, to support them and to comfort them. When it comes to children without parental care, things are different. They return to their caregivers. A caregiver could be an alternative mother, a supervisor, or a social worker. Most of them have day shift, and few of them sleep over in the institutional homes. Due to COVID-19, but before talking about COVID-19, I have to highlight that this profession or this job is very difficult, and it's poorly paid. And usually people, when they enter this profession, they are not well prepared and they did not receive the proper training and proper coaching. And this is actually what we do at Wataniya. COVID-19 made it harder because it affected the number of caregivers within the institutional homes has dropped significantly. Orphanages managers wanted to keep the children protected from being infected, so they had to reduce the number of caregivers in the day shift. Most of the orphanages were affected in terms of their donation, because most of the donation was channeled to other causes or services related to COVID-19. Also, the female caregivers had to choose between her family and taking care of her own children and between her job, which is a very difficult choice. As a result, the quality of care, the quality of protection, the quality of education received by children without parental care within institutional homes like orphanages was affected greatly. Not to mention the psychological well-being given the stressful situation and stressful time we are going through.
And so how are you finding ways, in spite of those challenges, because those are significant challenges, if you don't have the staff, you don't have the support, you don't have the flexibility of movement, how are you finding ways to cope and to improvise and to continue the standard that Al Wataniya holds itself to?
Okay, one of the good things at Wataniya that we are always driven by the vision and the result. We are result oriented, and if we focus on the result, we can always find means to reach this. what we did, we turned all our training and our service into online. And it wasn't that difficult because it was within our strategy and it was within our social development plan developed by together with Alfanar. So it was easy to shift. It was a matter of timing where we had just to start earlier the plan. And we were very happy and very surprised with how responsive our beneficiaries and how impactful the solution that we provided or to overcome the current situation. So we managed actually to turn our training. We were in the middle of a training after the lockdown. We turned it into online, and we provided in the past 3 months 33 online sessions and we managed to reach out around 400 caregiver, managers, and orphaned youth.
That just strikes me as extraordinary on many levels. First of all, the idea that you had the foresight to be planning to launch on an internet or on an online platform, which is not an easy thing to do. And the fact that you've been able to so quickly make that transition. More broadly speaking, can you just give us a sense of how Egypt is sort of the challenges that Egypt is facing moving forward with this pandemic still very much with us? What are some potential challenges that you view coming down the road?
Okay, I will focus more on an unseen challenge within the sector of children without parental care, which is the care leavers. Care leavers are the ones who used to live in institutional homes, but by law, and this is not only in Egypt, it's worldwide, they have to leave their orphanages once they reach 18. And because due to the poor education they received, most of them were in the informal sector. And most of them lost their jobs. The difference between maybe a young man who has his own family, that once he will lose his job, he might get back to his family or extended family. But the problem with a care leaver without a family, he has no one to return to. So what we are doing currently together with Alfanar and other partners, we are working on two things. We are working on strengthening the education system within institutional homes to ensure that children are receiving quality of education, to be able to have decent job and to be able to live independently. And also we are working on the system of the aftercare, which is the phase between 25, and this is where the young people, they need support. COVID-19 showed us that we do need to work excessively on the education and also on the aftercare. And I'm talking here about the children and youth without parental care sector.
Marianne, I mean, you are in Lebanon, and obviously the situation is a little different than Egypt, but certainly you're facing, I imagine, some similar challenges. I think probably what is particularly salient about Lebanon's situation is that it was in the grips of this tremendous economic crisis even before COVID-19 arrived. Give us some perspective on what you're seeing in terms of youth unemployment and opportunities in terms of the economic crisis, and how the pandemic has played into that in terms of either making the situation worse or more challenging.
So good evening, everyone. As you just mentioned, Clarissa, in one of the major challenges for the past years. However, it hit hard after the economic crisis in October 2019. And as a result of COVID, statistically, they say that there is around 50% of the Lebanese youth are currently unemployed. Recently, the World Food Programme published a report, and the stats say that 1 out of 3 Lebanese citizens is unemployed and not underemployed. And 1 out of 5 Lebanese citizens have recently either got a major salary cut or a minor salary reduction. So, I mean, with this, you can see that there's some disappointment with everything going on in the country. The youth are really, they want to leave in any way possible. They're trying to reach a certain escape mechanism to find livelihood opportunities outside Lebanon. However, I see that an opportunity showed up. The Lebanese diaspora was very active for the past 4 or 5 months. They've been mobilized, trying to find ways to support the Lebanese economy, Lebanese citizens, and especially the Lebanese youth through different means. Creating jobs, creating platforms for jobs, mobilizing and empowering Lebanese talent to make use of the Lebanese talent through the Lebanese diaspora and the owners, Lebanese owners of companies abroad, who can encourage the youth in Lebanon to try to contribute to the economy on a global level. So I see an opportunity somehow. We just need to be a bit hopeful about it, and we just need to have the right resources and network and ecosystem to support this opportunity.
It seems like BOT in some ways, is uniquely positioned for a sort of a COVID-19 world. In the same way that Yasmin was talking about Al-Wataniya having the foresight to be preparing a digital platform, your whole, all of your work is essentially carried out remotely and through digital platforms. Talk us through a little bit how you kind of seized upon that idea and how you've been able to use it to your advantage during this sort of unprecedented time of COVID-19?
So BOT is a service provider platform that connects skilled, trained Lebanese workforce with companies coming from the public or private sector who need to outsource specific tasks in their work environment. So what they do, they would come to us. The services that we provide are related to data management, data entry, data cleaning, data collection, call center support, archiving, etc. And the work is divided into either a remote type of work or an on-site type of work. Now, most of the work we've been doing is on a remote level. And with COVID-19, it really has supported mainly youth. It created a safe employment. So yes, they were employed, but in a safe environment. The culture of working remotely from home pushed companies towards social procurement, towards outsourcing. The culture of believing that yes, we are able to perform, even though we're remote. There's a deliverable-based mechanism happening, result-oriented, rather than being in an office and performing the job. So this whole culture supported the existence of BOT, and especially engaging more women from their homes, women who can contribute to the economy while being either in a rural community or working from home. So for us, it came natural to continue and sustain our work. And luckily, we have been really closing very good deals for the past 3-4 months, working on 14 different projects, even with the COVID-19 situation.
And how have you worked with Alfanar throughout this period to sort of, I mean, the name of the campaign, right, was Survive and Thrive. And I think there's a tendency, understandably, to view this, as completely paralyzing, as utterly frightening, as chaotic, and yet I'm hearing sort of positive tones coming through, and I'm hearing opportunities being found. I just wonder if you can give us a bit of a sense of how the sort of relationship works with Alfanar in terms of taking your ideas and enhancing them or supporting them or whatever it might be.
So we have a team, a very motivated, energized team from Alfanar. So they keep pushing us to be better and to improve. The network they provide us has been amazing. Since we are a service provider entity, we need to create opportunities with the market. We need to access new markets in Lebanon, in the region, and on an international level. And Alfanar has been pioneers in this. So there's always an opportunity for Alfanar to connect us to the right hubs, to the right platforms, to the right human resources, and potential clients and networks. And of course, there's this technical expertise that has been given to us. We're developing a platform that connects through an AI recommender system our youth, our workforce, with the clients. So, and building this platform by itself needs a lot of expertise and insights on modeling it.
I think we have now, we had a sort of technical glitch for a moment there, but I think we now have Mohammed back as well. Mohammed, are you there? I'm just double checking before I start asking you questions.
Yeah, I am here.
You're there, excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
It was a glitch, by the way. It's Lebanon, it's the electricity thing, so it's not a glitch.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So first of all, I love that we are able to see some of your beautiful merchandise in the background there. And certainly I remember from my time living in Beirut that everybody made a beeline for the Anash store when they would come to visit so that they could take away some of your beautiful work. But you've been working with Alfanar for some time now. Give me a sense, this must be a tough time for you, given the kind of work that you do, given the situation in Lebanon, the situation particularly in some of the camps. Give us a sense of how you're being affected and how you're working with Alfanar to try to get through it.
Well, to be honest, maybe it's the right time to panic, but we're not. Yani we're doing our best to face this situation. And it's a double situation, by the way. And as you said, Clarissa, that we already, we are facing the bad economical situation here in Lebanon. And then we have the COVID-19 issue, which made things much worse. Now, to say that, well, since inception, 50 years ago, Enash's core mission is to preserve Palestinian embroidery heritage through the employment and empowerment of Palestinian refugee women in Lebanon's refugee camps. Now, we have been helping refugees since then, and mainly to understand that their time means money. It's not a charity. It's not just to give them money or to support them. No, they work for it, and they do beautiful work. They do extraordinary work when it comes to embroidery. So now, right now, I think with this situation, COVID-19 is just hitting that in the heart. Because due to the situation, we do not have enough demands on the products. And we have difficulties to get to the camps because we go to the camps, we give the work to our beneficiaries, we sit with them, we spend time with them. Now we cannot do that. It's very difficult to, you know, with the social distance thing. And we already had a long time of total lockdown here in Beirut. This made it very, very, very difficult for us. And it was for the first time since, at least since I joined around 2.5 years back. This is the first time that we get calls from most of our beneficiaries asking for work. They need work. Before that, sometimes we used to get calls to ask for further assistance, some assistance in medical issues or whatever, but this is the first time we get these calls just to get work. So I think it's really about time, but we are doing our best, and the Alfanar are helping a lot in this. So yeah.
So how are you responding to those calls when you get the call saying we need work? I mean, what initiatives are you thinking of? What sort of, I mean, what if anything can you do to continue to support this community?
Well, right now, of course, as other associations and businesses abroad and all over the world, we are in a crisis management mode right now. And for that, we had to act on a tactical level and to think about strategic level. We all believe that post-COVID-19 is not the same when it comes to business and business model and how to do business anymore. So on a tactical level, of course, we had to do very similar measures to other associations by cutting expenses and maybe cutting salaries. But in the same time, we had to address the concern of these beneficiaries. Since we cannot provide them with more work right now, we had to think about direct initiatives to provide them with work and to provide them with income. And I would like to give a couple of examples. Like we were thinking about a project which is related to having face masks for COVID-19, which will provide work and income for the embroiderers. And we again work, and this was done with Alfanar. We are still in progress, but thanks to Alfanar, we have the budget for it now. And the same we have done related to providing some food support, which was done by the Lebanese Food Bank through Alfanar again. And this is to go directly to our beneficiaries. So we have been trying to think about, it's like direct projects to do it right now and to provide direct income without having us to wait to sell our products because the demand is really low right now. This is on a tactical level, but on a strategic level, no, it's a bit different because right now, or going onwards, I believe that online platforms will have their work. Yani, historically, we have been depending on our showroom and our exhibitions abroad, couple of resellers abroad, but now I think it's the right time to focus much more and to think of the online business as our unit of growth for the future.
I mean, this seems to be definitely one of the themes here, listening to all of you, is this understanding that moving into a sort of more digital space and online commerce is absolutely a way forward for sustainable. I'm getting a lot of questions in, so I just want to be mindful of not being selfish and just asking all of my own questions. There's a question in for Yasmin. Yasmin, can you tell us a bit more about the help that you provide to female caregivers?
Sure. Okay. Apart from the vocational programs that we provide the caregivers, to empower them and to give them the set of skills and, most important, the mindset in order to be able to perform their job better. We also started to provide online a support session delivered by experts in the psychology field, where we listen to them, where we try to help them how to manage their feelings, because all of us are going through a difficult time, and how to work together with the children and to answer their question and manage their stress. So this is something we're doing. Another thing, we used to do this also even when we used to visit the field, the orphanages. We used to also to sit with the caregivers, the alternative mothers, and listen to them and listen to their thoughts and help them to have better self-awareness about themselves and their needs.
And Marianne, I have a question for you. Do you collaborate with the Lebanese National Employment Office?
So we never had the chance yet to work with them because we're not an employment platform. We are a freelance platform. So we support youth who are either unemployed or underemployed with a new source of revenue. We don't connect them to potential jobs. When they work with us as freelancers, they are exposed to on the job, they acquire practical skills that the market needs. They learn new skills related to either e-commerce, data collection, data cleaning, data cleansing, image labeling. But then throughout their journey with BOT, they are able to be exposed to the new trends of the market, and eventually we would prepare them to the workforce so that they can be employed later on. But we're not an employment platform.
Mm-hmm. And Mohammed, a question for you. I think some of our people watching and tuning in have been inspired by some of the beautiful products in the background there, and they're asking when they would be available on e-commerce or online for shipping to the United States.
We are ready when it comes to online. We are ready, and we already ship to the United States. We don't have a problem with that. So whenever they want, they can just visit our website, our social media, Instagram account, and they can find our products there. What you are missing actually is we're trying to find a better way to do this business, which having like resellers abroad, which will open new channels for us. But anyone can just visit our website and see our products and order it.
So the other question I'm getting for all of you, and maybe I can ask you each to sort of answer this in brief, and starting with you, Mohammed Singh, as we're already chatting, is, you know, a lot of people want to know, how can they support you? What kind of support are you looking for? And I'm not just talking about financing, but more broadly speaking, what kind of support do you really need?
Well, right now, our main objective, as I was just saying before, is to widen our network. We need to have resellers, whether it's physical resellers with showroom or online resellers. This is our main objective. And if anyone can help in that, then it will be great. We were looking for resellers all over the world, especially when we're talking about the United States and Europe.
And Marianne, what about you? What sort of support do you need?
Exactly the same. We need access to new markets. If any one of the 160 participants know of any company who is interested to outsource skilled workforce, please do contact us. We are, we are able to cater any service remotely for any company located anywhere in the world. Our youth are trilingual, English, French, and fluently Arabic speakers. So yes, I mean, new contacts, new clients, and new markets.
And last but certainly not least, Yasmin, what about you? What kind of support would you ideally like to see?
Our dream is to have an online platform, an e-learning platform specialized in the alternative care sector to reach out all Arab countries, because we realize that there is a need for such programs, consultation sessions, etc. What we are doing now, we are piloting what we want to reach. Therefore, we need people expert in technology, in e-learning. Also, we are looking for people who could give us some consultation and advice, revisiting our business model and our business plan, given COVID-19 impact and consequences.
And I guess my last question, and I'll ask it of each of you, and again, just in brief, because we don't have a huge amount of time and there's more to discuss, but you know, give me just a sense briefly of how Alfanar has supported you.
Okay, I'll start with the mindset. Alfanar helped us to conquer our fears, and it helped us to move from our comfort zone. We only learn by moving from our comfort zone, and this is what Alfanar did. we were very much focused on the impact, but maybe not as much as our focus on our sustainability and continuation. And because we do have a dream and we do have a strategy, this is very important to be sustained and to be independent financially. I believe Alfanar, through its network, helped us to think and look at things in the future differently. And partners who influence other organizations in their mindset, they are very impactful, I'm sure, and very valuable, and they are very rare as well.
Marianne, I'm sure you agree, but do you have anything to add to that in terms of the specific nature of the support that you've received from Alfanar?
I can summarize with words. I mean, the team has been advocates, believers, passionate of our cause, supporters. They're with us, they're partners. We feel like we're a team. So when you feel that your donor is a partner and they're with you, I mean, there's always a way for us to improve and to be better because of their insights. So for me, one word is they're advocates for our mission.
And Mohammed, do you have anything to add?
Well, maybe in our case, it's a bit different because, you know, En'ash was established more than 50 years ago. So basically, when Alfanar joined, the main mission at that time and the most important thing they helped us in is that how to transform En'ash as a classical NGO to a social enterprise. And this is a very difficult thing to do, by the way. Mm-hmm. And as one of our dearest board members here at En'ash said to me when I joined, it's like moving a dinosaur. It's a 50-year-old association going to a social enterprise, so you can imagine. And to be honest, Alfanar was a great support on a technical level and on a financial level to achieve this step. And we're still looking forward. It doesn't end here. Now, by shifting our strategy and focusing online, we still need their support, whether it's technical or financial.
Well, I think I join everyone who has been listening in and watching in applauding all three of you, Yasmin, Marianne, and also Mohammed. You know, it's just inspiring to see the work that you're doing. It's inspiring to see your resilience and also your creativity and your ability to use this crisis as a way to improvise, as a way to move forward. I think it's a model for so many. And I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to talk a little bit more with us about your work. So thank you very much. I'm now going to hand over the floor to Myrna Atalla, who is of course Alfanar's, incredible executive director and also a very dear old friend of mine, I have to confess. And I just wanted to say thank you again, and also to remind people who have asked questions that we didn't have a chance to get to that you will get an answer to those questions anyway, and please feel free to continue to ask those questions. Someone from Alfanar will answer them. So thank you to our moderators. Thank you for having me, and Myrna, over to you.
Thank you. What an exciting evening this has been. Good evening to everyone. I am Myrna Atalla, Alfanar's Executive Director, and allow me first to thank CNN's Chief International Correspondent and great friend, Clarissa Ward, for taking the time to moderate this, I hope, what was an enriching and inspiring discussion. I also have to tell you that she is due to give birth to her second child in just 4 days. So Clarissa, you are a superstar. Thank you for giving of yourself and always caring about the Arab world, especially in this final stretch. I encourage all of you to check out Clarissa's book. It's due out in September. It's fabulous. It's called On All Fronts. I'd like to thank our investees, Yasmin, Mohammed, Marianne. As Lubna mentioned in the beginning, our social entrepreneurs have always been the true heroes that sort of motivate our work, and their commitment to enabling vulnerable people, children, youth, and women to access education, employment, and opportunity, but not just to access these things for just a moment, but to do it in a sustainable manner well after Alfanar exits. And especially at this point, despite all of the monumental challenges facing us, is humbling and inspiring, and it gets us going always. So finally, I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day or evening, depending on the time zone you are in, to learn about Alfanar, about social investment, about how we approach the very serious work of making long-term change. This evening, we were joined by nearly 300 people, everywhere from the US to Singapore. And I would like to welcome you. You know, you heard in the video, join Alfanar, join this family. We are a family. It's a community of like-minded philanthropists, whether individual, corporate, or institutional, who work together to pool our capital and direct it, along with our very high engagement management support from the teams on the ground and from the Alfanar community to achieve sustainable and scalable results. We thank the 250 donors who contributed to the Survive and Thrive campaign. We have raised 300,000 of our 500,000 pound target. So I hope that this evening has piqued your interest and excited you to get involved. We are sharing just a few ways that you can engage with this community. If you are new to us, consider making a donation. It will go a very long way, and we need your support in order to do the very important work we do, not just with the 3 entrepreneurs you heard from, but from the 17 active entrepreneurs we work with today and the many more we have supported over time. Number 2, I have a special request. I want you to stop and think. Think about what you've heard today, and think if there's someone in your network who you might connect us to, who might be especially motivated by social investment or this type of work. And finally, you've heard very specific needs from each of the entrepreneurs. We invite you, if you have time or specific expertise, to get in touch with us and become an impact connector. The larger the network is, the more change we can make together. I hope that despite all of the challenges of the last few months and the many challenges that still lie ahead, we've given you a little bit of hope tonight. Welcome to the Alfanar family, and I hope that we can join again virtually and eventually, inshallah, in person. Thank you very much.